Hey everybody, it's your man James, Mr. Quintet, back again with some more video action for you. This is another bit from a clipped live stream of the past. In this one, I'm going to be talking about why it seems that the some comic creators have like Stockholm syndrome concerning the state of the industry and whatnot, and how poorly it treats them. And yet, despite that, they attack people who try to break that mold and want to do things differently than the way they've been done before. And this gives you a little bit of an indication on why that is, why they seem so intent to protect, like a battered wife, the industry that is, hurt them so much, and yet someone who's trying to do something different that is separate from that, maybe to give people more options, and yet they'll attack those people instead. And I just thought it was kind of an interesting way of looking at things, because again, it's something you're seeing a lot of today, and I just thought it would be something to help you, give you a little insights to things. So I want to thank you all for joining me today, and say I hope you get a little something out of this. And if you do, drop some likes down there if you like what you hear, because it's always helpful for the algorithms around here. Also, drop any comments you have, because I always want to hear what you guys got to say on topics like this, or whatever else. And also be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed, so you don't miss any of the content that I'm putting out here on the regular. And please, if you have subscribed, share out some links, and let's bring in some new folks, because I always like to pump up those numbers as much as I can. So I thank you all again for joining me today. I truly hope you get something out of this one, and I will be back soon with some more stuff. And until next time, take care. They never learn, and this is why Rippaverse is winning. And they show this little meme here where it says Marvel Comics in the 80s. With Jim Shooter's picture, and he goes, "I know your comic gets tons of praise from the fans, but you only sold 500,000 issues. I'm afraid we're going to have to let you go." And then Marvel Comics now. "Your comic didn't even sell 10,000 issues. We're going to call the fans Klansmen and put you on Spider-Man." And that pretty much is accurate. If you look at the way comics were in, say, the late 80s, when I first started getting into them, and you see how they were judged, on merit, then this is how it was done. You could have all the praise in the world from the people, but if your numbers weren't there, if your sales weren't there, you're done. Whereas now it's the exact opposite, where like they're not selling for crap, and then rather than listening to the complaints of the people who are the ones are supposedly paying the bills, they instead insult them, and then put these people who are destroying the characters, destroying the hobby, destroying the industry, putting them on, failing them upwards and putting them on more projects. And of course, this brain trust here goes, yes, Jim Shooter, famously beloved figure, as if somehow that invalidates what this shows. And it doesn't. It doesn't even address what it's showing. He's just, again, just like he did with Eric July, it's just a personal attack. And I love how the guy handles it here. He goes, "The man might not have been everyone's friend, but he knew what made for good comics and knew how to make them sell. But current Marvel and their stands, like you, have no clue on how to do either of those things. But the Rippaverse does. Keep on coping and seething." And there it is. That's pretty much it. Jim Shooter, he wasn't. I mean, again, I've heard the stories. He wasn't, well liked by everybody at the company. But yet, when you look at how the company was running, when you look at how the sales were going, it was successful. And that goes back to something I've said many times is, sometimes, you don't want, sometimes the boss being the boss means he's going to have to be a jerk. You can't be everybody's friend and be the boss. They did a whole show on that called The Office, and it shows you why you can't have a boss that is your friend. And that's just how that goes. And sometimes it's kind of funny. It's almost like the bigger the jerk they are, the better they are at the business side. You know what I'm saying? Like by not being your friend, but being focused on the business, they get the business done, and that's how stuff is successful. And people say, yeah, he's a real jerk. He's a real cutthroat. Maybe, but maybe being that jerk cutthroat is why he's so successful. And again, a guy like this insights person just either doesn't get that or doesn't care. And he continued on with this stuff. Then why did all his business ventures fail after Marvel failed? To which, again, this guy comes in: lack of funding, lack of passion for those under him, lack of passion from those under him, lack of having established icons to work with. The reasons are many, but that doesn't take away from the success he achieved at Marvel and how far Marvel has fallen since then. But keep coping and seething over the Rippaverse. And I wouldn't say all his later ventures failed. Valiant Comics was successful under him, probably the most successful they ever saw. And that they are still around today is part of a testament to that and him. And there it is. Again, see, once again, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He, again, just trying to insult, Jim Shooter, and it's like, but he doesn't know Jim Shooter's history. I was there when Valiant started, and yeah, under Shooter, it was like I don't think it ever achieved the kind of success since that time ever again. No matter how many times they've relaunched, no matter how many times they've redone things and revamped and retooled, the company, it's never been as successful as it was under Jim Shooter. And again, it shows you, these people, they don't really care what it takes to make success. They think success, is something that either is just you're just given or is just owed you. And it's not something you have to work for. It's not something you have to strive for. And if you're striving for it, means that you're not going to be kissing, butt to people whose butt you don't need to kiss. Well, somehow that's wrong. I mean, I don't understand where they get this idea. But again, it just shows you the stupidity of how stupid they are attacking Eric July and anyone else who doesn't fit their woke agenda. And this is especially funny. I found this out from Shane Davis, watching one of his videos. This was a sketch cover done by this artist, Zoe Thorogood. And they were commissioned as a sketch. And then Marvel would later now use it as an actual published cover. Now, if you know anything about page rates, a sketch, you get $100 to do a sketch, like sort of like a character design, if it were like this. And an actual cover should be at least, I don't know, 4 or 5 times that amount if you do work for an actual published cover. So what Marvel did was a nice little bait and switch. They said, yeah, I want you to do a sketch for us. So here's $100. The artist did the sketch, and then Marvel took the sketch and said, well, now we're going to make it a cover instead. So they got a cover for $100 payment when they should have paid out $500 to the artist. And again, and you can tell, I mean, this is horrible. Now, again, this is just, I don't want to be too harsh on the artist because it is supposedly just a design sketch. And as we all know, design sketches aren't necessarily a finished product. When you're doing a cover, you're probably going to put on your Sunday best, as it were, when you're doing a cover, because that's the image you want people to have a lasting impression of. So this was probably never intended as a cover. But again, Spider UK, a black, I think a black lesbian, I believe. So, just more diversity and watering down Spider-Man because, they haven't done that enough. But the artist actually came out about this. Said, recently I've been getting hate regarding Spider UK. I think people are being purposely obtuse about it, but I'm going to try to explain. Marvel paid me for a sketch at a sketch rate, so I delivered a sketch. It was not cover art. I did not know it was going to be cover art. It was a concept design work. I did that $100. That $100 or so I got paid went mostly into design, not art. If you don't like the design, that's fine. It is subjective. But people bashing me as an artist for the design sketch, thinking it is a cover art, is, well, upsetting, I guess. And I can understand that. I have a little bit of sympathy for the artist in this, because again, it's not them that did this. This is Marvel's bait and switch. They commissioned them for a sketch and then used it as a cover, which does a disservice to the artist in 2 ways. Is one, they didn't get paid the rate they should have got paid for, one, which is probably the most important thing. And 2, it makes the artist look bad because now people will associate that cover with, like, this is what the artist is capable of. Oh my goodness, I got a nephew who's 12 years old who can draw better than this. And can hurt them in their career later on. Maybe people won't want to hire them because they'll say, oh yeah, you did that Spider UK cover, that was awful. See, but again, but it shows you, why would Marvel do this? And could it be because they don't have the money to pay for actual covers now? They don't have the money available to pay an artist a decent rate to get a cover, so they have to bait and switch them this way? Tell them, we want you to do a sketch, and then take a sketch and make the sketch the cover. Again, that's certainly the signs of a healthy industry, correct? That's what we're told. Oh, the comic books are doing better than ever. Yes, so good that you're bait and switching artists with sketches to use as covers, so you don't have to pay them. And we got here Tim Sheridan, a writer for Marvel and DC. Comic fans, don't add stuff to established characters. Just create new characters. Creator creates new characters. Fans, I don't know them. I don't want to. This is trash. Well, again, you just saw that Spider UK. She's black and lesbian. What else do we know about her? What's the character about? Why do we need a Spider UK like that? What's about the character that makes it special? other than it's a black female who's queer. What? Nothing? Oh, gee, maybe that's why the creates new characters. You see, notice he just says creates new characters. He doesn't say creates good new characters. See, that's kind of the key. If he's going to create crappy characters, well, then yeah, people are going to call it trash and they ain't going to support it. But see, he's using this as justification for why it's okay to go in and wreck an established character with your politics, like they did Iceman, making him gay, or like how let's get rid of Tony Stark and put in Riri Williams, a black female teenager, and call it Iron Man. See, this is why it's okay to do that stuff, because, see, fans don't really want to support new characters. So the only way for us to tell our stories is to take the established characters and alter them in ways that will work for the stories we want to tell. See, he's trying to give justification for the very shit work that has put the industry into a point that they're saying, let's commission artists for sketches and then use them as covers. This is why. Again, it's so willfully obtuse. It borders on the absurd. You want to create new characters? Yes, create them. But do you have to create them crappily? Do you have to be ciphers for your politics? No, they could actually be actual characters. Oh, then why don't you do that? Don't just create new characters. Create new good characters. And that's something Eric July says he is going to try to do. And so far, the people are responding to that. They're like, if this is what you want to do, we're willing to support that. That's what all the support he has gotten so far shows. People are willing to support good things. If you're willing to do good things, people are willing to support it. When you do garbage, well, then they won't support it. But of course, for Tim Sheridan, garbage is probably all he can create. Now, and here's, Zach Davis. Now, I put this in because I think this makes a point that the mainstream really needs to kind of understand. A very sad thing every creative person learns is that the amount of people shouting, "Take my money," does not correlate to actual sales. We have all made something people screamed that they would buy, and then no one actually bought it. Now, see, this goes right to the heart of it all. All your Twitter likes and all your Facebook likes and all you're champing at the bits on social media. People saying, "Oh, you're so stunning and brave for making Iceman gay. You're so stunning and brave for making a Muslim Ms. Marvel. You're so." All that means nothing if they're not going to back it up with their money. And this is what they haven't learned. This is why these trash characters don't sell. This is why, despite Tim Sheridan's assertions that, well, we make new characters and then you don't support them, well, that's why, because the people who said they'll support them never had any intention to support them. Because as Eric himself has said many times, they don't like these characters. They like the idea of these characters. I don't like Miles Morales Spider-Man, but I like the idea of a black Spider-Man. And what you got to ask yourself as the creator, why do they like the idea of a black Spider-Man? Why do they like the idea of a gay Iceman? Why do they like the idea of a bisexual Tim Drake? Is it because it's going to add something of value to the characters? Is it because it's a great new concept that no one's ever thought of before? Do you have a great story behind this character that's going to unfold? Or is it just they like the idea because it takes something away from people they hate? Well, white people like Spider-Man, Peter Parker. So therefore, if you get rid of him and put in Miles Morales, that takes something away from them. And I like that. If you make Iceman gay, now he's part of the LGBTQ community. He's not straight no more. Straight people aren't going to like that. And I like that they don't like it. That's more what you're going to get. They don't care about the money. They don't care about anything else. It's just about sticking it to those they hate. And that's why no one actually bought, because that was never their intention. Their intention of quote unquote supporting you was to get that idea out there so it could tick off the people that they hate, so they could take something away from the people they hate. That's all it was. That's all it ever was. So remember, when you shout at someone how much you would support them and buy their product, it doesn't actually help. I know you want to make them feel good, and that is nice, but having boxes of unsold merch at home makes no one feel good. Yes, that is true. But again, you're also giving them too much credit. You say it's because you want them to feel good. And again, I don't think that's ever been the motivation of these people who who say they'll support these things and then end up not supporting them. Their intentions were just to trash something that some people that they hate love. That was their intention. You doing that gave them what they wanted. They don't have to support it to do that. The minute you published it, the minute you altered that character, the minute you replaced them with a diversity hire, the minute you did these things, they got what they wanted. Why would they then give you their money? They don't have to give you their money now. That's the one good thing about crowdfunding is it actually is the people who are supporting it are people who do have to put their money where their mouth is. Oh, this is a cool idea, a cool concept, whatever. I think it should exist. Here's some money so you can try to make that exist. That works. But in the old corporate comic stuff, where you put stuff out there and see what happens, these people don't have to support it. They can tell you they'll support it. They can give you all the likes on Twitter and Facebook that you want. But when it comes out, they've now gotten what they wanted. You stuck it to their enemies, their political enemies. You stuck it to them. I got what I wanted. Why should they give you money now? What possible incentive could they have to give you money? And here you are now stuck with a crap character in a crap book that's going down in sales, that's going to end up getting canceled and probably have to be rebooted if you're going to put it out there again, and the cycle continues. But I like Zach Davis' thing. I think he was trying to use this more on the crowdfunding people, but the crowdfunding people don't have to worry about this so much, because the people who are supporting them are putting their money where their mouth is. They're saying, take my money, and they actually give it to them. The ones who need to hear this are the people in the mainstream working in corporate comics who think it's okay to trash icons and, push their political viewpoints as quote unquote entertainment. They're the ones that need to hear this, because the ones they're listening to on Twitter and Facebook and other social media sites, they're the ones who are lying to them, telling them, oh, I'll support your stuff, and then never do. So this story, and this really isn't so much about Eric, but I'm bringing it in because it spotlights just how deeply the hatred of anybody who does not think the way guys like Brooks and their ilk want them to think. This is how they will treat you. This is exactly what they do. Now, Gabe went to San Diego Con, and at the show, he found Brooks's table. And he goes, couldn't find little Marky. Maybe tomorrow? And he's standing there looking at his table, and he's smiling. He's blanked out his face for some reason, but he's smiling. He goes, and let's see, he goes, the first few days of the show went by without a hitch. If anything, it felt like one big party, and I was loving every minute of it. Things changed Saturday night. I got a message from a friend with a screen cap from Twitter. This is where I got a little nervous. See, I'm not scared exactly, but recent events around the country put my guard up. I spent the next day scanning the crowd around my table every once in a while. I didn't think anything would happen, but I also didn't want to get caught off guard. So what's he talking about? What's he nervous about? What's the deal? By the afternoon, my caution had turned to anger. How dare anyone try to ruin anyone else's good time? I wasn't going to be intimidated by someone looking to ruin my con high. In short, I was effing done. So he sees Gabe's post as some kind of threat. Now, again, you saw the post. You saw what Gabe said, saying that, he's not here. You can't find him. Maybe tomorrow. Where's the threat? Now, Gabe said, I can't find him. I'll look for him tomorrow so I can beat his ass. Okay, that's a threat. I can see that. Okay, I would be upset about somebody saying something like that. But that's not what he said. Gabe was smiling, and he's just pointing at his table and saying, hey, he's not there. Maybe I'll see him tomorrow. But this is where he decided to take it. I went to my booth manager and asked for security. Within 15 minutes, I had 2 plainclothes police officers at my booth. I shared all the posts I had along with the photo he posted and asked that he be told to leave me and everyone else alone. So right here, again, he has done nothing. There's been no threats made, and yet he got security. He got people put at his booth to protect him, as if this was some kind of actual threat. My understanding is that he wasn't at his table any longer and had relinquished his spot to someone else. So I have no idea if he found out police were looking for him. If he didn't, he does now. So again, he's now checking up on Gabe. You see how twisted it is? Gabe went to his table and somehow that's a threat, but now he's going to his table to sic police on him for posting a picture on Twitter, and yet somehow that's justified. Since then, he has scrubbed his Twitter of any mention of me, and I can only assume he got the message. Either that, or perhaps he was told if he didn't scrub it, he would get his account yanked. But it doesn't erase what he did, which is took a picture at your table. That's it. He took his harassment into real life. See, and there it is. What harassment? He was at the show. He went to your table. You weren't there. He posted a picture of him smiling, standing by your table, saying, where are you? Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. And that was it. Where was the threat? Where was the harassment? And again, he even admitted himself, he didn't come back later. I guess Gabe got busy doing other things. Oh, well, there you go. He recorded videos at San Diego Comic-Con mentioning me by name and that he was looking for me. Yes. Yes. So what? I'm hoping this is the end of it, but I also worry about future convention appearances. This person doesn't seem stable. I'm sorry. This is a guy who has attacked Yanzi Lin, Shane Davis's wife, along with Shane himself. He's attacked Shelley Lopresti and, of course, Aaron Lopresti. He has attacked John Malin's wife and John Malin. He has attacked Ethan Van Sciver. He has attacked Gabe LTA. He has attacked multiple people online. He has harassed people out the wazoo, this loser. And yet he wants to say that someone else is a problem, that someone else isn't stable. And yet this guy, he is so, he has Comicsgate derangement syndrome. I mean, the Comicsgate people will just fill his mind at all times. Just go to his timeline on his Twitter. You'll see it's just tons and tons of hate of Comicsgate. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. I hate him. All these people, they're evil, evil, evil. Oh, I hate Comicsgate. I hate Comicsgate. That's all it is. That, to me, is the not stable person. If he's attending a convention as an attendee or guest, I won't be there. Well, big loss there. Nobody cares about you, Mark. You're a piece of shit artist. Your art is not that good. You're no loss, believe me. I'm alerting all my convention contacts that this will be the case from now on. If this person has harassed or sought to intimidate you, I advise you to do the same and document everything. So again, now he's trying to get Gabe LTA banned from conventions for posting a picture on Twitter. No threats, no violence. And he has the gall to say that he was the one harassed here. Well, here he is with a multi-part thread calling a person unstable, attacking them, trying to get them banned, all because what? What's he so afraid of? See, again, you have to ask yourself, what is he so afraid of? What is he afraid Gabe was going to do? What was he afraid Gabe was going to say? And what has Mark said that would lead him to believe that such a reaction is what Gabe would do? Because again, I've seen many of Gabe's streams. I've watched him live. I've watched his videos. He's like one of the most congenial people I've ever seen. I mean, is he a big guy? Yeah, he's tall and broad, yes, but it's like gentle giant, he's like baby Huey. He's not someone who's going to go out to hurt anybody. He's not going out there to whip someone's ass. But yet to hear Mark Brooks here, that's what you would think. Is like, oh, he came there to beat my ass. Well, first of all, there's no proof of any of that. Two, even if that was his intention, well, Mark, what have you done to engender such a feeling? Because, people don't just generally come out of nowhere and say, that person over there that I don't know, I'm going to go beat their ass. That's not what they tend to do. There tends to usually 99% of the time be something that was involved with getting that reaction. What have you done, Mark? Oh, attacked his friends, attacked him, attacked his wife online, making racist and sexist comments? Oh, could that be why? So, and now you're afraid that your online harassment will come back on you in the real world and get your ass beat by somebody who, at least on appearance, seems physically capable of doing such? What does that say about Mark Brooks? That's what he's worried about. Now, see, you would think maybe what it would tell him is, maybe I shouldn't do threads like this, attacking people constantly with my hatred. But that's not what they learn. They learn, no, we need to ban them from shows. We need to call the police on them. And again, this is the same kind of thing Eric July is talking about. He expects these types of attitudes because they are so prevalent. They have festered for years in this industry and been unaccountable. I mean, we all remember the story of Richard C. Meyer, where Mark Wade put out a post on Facebook saying, if I'm at a convention he's at, even if I'm at a panel, come and run and get me and bring me to him. Now you say, well, according to Mark Brooks, that's a threat of violence. Now, Wade never said he was going to do anything violent, but according to Mark Brooks, well, that's all it takes. Because after all, why would you say run and get me and bring me to him? Even though I'm in a panel, come and get me. What are you going to do? Go to the local food court and have a couple lattes and sit down and have a nice little chit chat? I don't think so. So if that's the case, well, there's an example right there. There's the example when Wade said, what is it, Arthur Sondheim, supposedly he was taking up too much space on tables and all the stuff he spread out would go onto some of his neighbors' tables. And he was threatening to come in there and flip his table. But I don't see Mark Wade getting banned from conventions. There's B. Clay Moore who went around trying to harass Richard C. Meyer at a show once, trying to quote unquote trigger his PTSD, which he doesn't have, of course. But of course, a bigot like B. Clay Moore would of course think all servicemen have PTSD, but trying to trigger it so we do something violent so we can get him ejected from the show. I don't see anyone banning B. Clay Moore from shows. But yet Gabe goes to this guy's table and takes a picture, and suddenly, well, he needs to be banned from all conventions. You see, this is what I'm talking about. And this is why they fear people like Gabe LTA, like Eric July, because these are men who no longer need the mainstream. They no longer need these people. And they're terrified because if their model becomes the new model, where's a guy like Mark Brooks going to go? You think he's going to work for a guy like Ripa? For Eric July? No, he's not going to work for him. No, he probably never would anyway. But even if he did, even if he would kowtow enough to go beg him for a job, do you think Eric's going to hire him? Probably not. Maybe try to crowdfund his own book. What do you think his chances of success are? Probably pretty slim considering all the bridges he's burned for people, right? Attacking people for years. See, this is why they so fear that model now. All these creators in the mainstream have burned their bridge with the readers and with fellow creators who have been successful in this arena. And they know that they'll never get work there. If the corporate model falls, they have nothing. Where are they going to go? They're going to go to manga? No, manga doesn't want them. Manga doesn't want these woke. They know they're woke assholes. Like, you're woke assholes. We don't want you messing up our manga the way you messed up your own characters. Where are they going to go? What, doing stuff like Dogman? A young adult? They're not going to want you. The guy that created Dogman, I forget his name, he's not going to say, oh, yeah, come on over. I'll have some of you guys write and draw Dogman for me. He's not going to do that. He doesn't want you messing up his property, his meal ticket. So what's that leave them? Well, it leaves them crowdfunding. And, of course, that's not going to work now because they burned the bridge. They spent years calling everybody under the sun that they didn't agree with istophobes. And, the readership, we've got a long memory. We remember these things. We remember what you've said. We remember what you've done. And they know that there's no way they could ever get ahead in that.